Currently 87 degrees right now as we take a live look at our East Memphis camera on the very sort of end of this morning. We're about to enter the afternoon hours and we'll be reaching into the 90s for most areas today. Maybe a few of us do still stay at around 89, but hotter than yesterday, slowly continuing this trend of warming up here throughout the week. Until this weekend will eventually bring a return of some more hot and humid conditions, or at least a bit more reminiscent of what we experienced for most of July. But for today and for the rest of the week, I think we are still staying relatively calm. Light winds out of the west right now at 5 miles per hour. An interesting shift there, but it is more so the wind speeds that we are a bit more concerned with today, as that may create a few issues throughout this afternoon, given that we do have some air quality alerts. Right now we are in the 80s, feeling like the 90s right now for most areas. So definitely showing that the heat index is starting to grow a bit. That gap not quite as small as it was over the last 2 days between the actual temperature and the feels like temperature. But again, all of us are seeing an increase today, even in the areas further north and east that usually do run a little cooler than the rest of the area. We should be at close to or at 90, maybe getting up to around 94 or 95 today within some of those Delta counties in Mississippi and Arkansas. But as I just mentioned before, we do actually have some air quality alerts solely within the Memphis Metro. The Shelby County Health Department has been the one issuing this, not the National Weather Service. A code orange for elevated ozone levels, greater increased difficulty in being outside for extended periods of time. For those with chronic breathing conditions or conditions that may affect breathing, it is a good idea today to just keep in mind that we are probably going to have a little more difficulty than usual, especially for these afternoon hours. Now, code orange is usually issued whenever we do have just any sort of air quality or reduction, or of really just those either amounts of really qualities for being able to breathe in and take that air in sort of usual fashion, or because of some other pollutant in the atmosphere. This time it's ozone that is at an increased capacity, which in itself alone this time of the year, early August, when it's very hot, and we have the winds that are at their lightest today and a bit variable. This does often happen here, usually on some given days where it's very hot and humid in July and August. We're not quite as humid today, but I think what's making up for that humidity is wildfire smoke from the Pacific Northwest, of which is not really as concentrated in the Mid-South as it is off into the plains and areas, of course, much closer to the location of where those wildfires are originating from. But still, enough of that here is going to aggravate that situation of an already increased level of those ozone pollutants in the atmosphere. So over the course of this afternoon, especially the peak sort of temperature hours, I think that correlates to when things are the haziest, and we may see just a little bit of some haze in the atmosphere as well. So those of us outside of Shelby County and the Metro still possibly feeling some of these effects, but of course within Memphis and those nearby urbanized areas, that is where we do have those sort of feelings and conditions aggravated the most. But that will be something that expires today and should not be an issue going forward at all for our area, or even for some of those other more sort of polluted areas when it comes to the wildfire smoke especially. And looking at the sky, I think we are not going to have to worry once again about anything falling from it. That air quality alert, of course, for the Metro we'll keep in mind, but I don't think any sort of rainfall is going to end up making its way into our area. A little bit closer this time in Middle Tennessee, we have some ongoing showers. That's sort of how the next couple of evenings are going to go. We're slowly getting a little more hot and humid. We're slowly increasing cloud cover for these evenings. Maybe by tomorrow we do have a few sprinkles, but it should be more so Friday that decisively we see at least spread throughout different sections of the area, a few scattered showers and storms to kick off the weekend. By this point, the heat index will probably be around, say, 100 degrees, close to about sunset, or maybe just a little bit below in the upper 90s. Not hot enough for any advisories or heat warnings, but it definitely will be feeling a little closer to how July went than how August has been so far. For today, though, mostly sunny skies, and we are still keeping those comfortable conditions with low dew points and a low chance of rain for this evening, maybe about 10%, just given that we do have a little bit of a closer proximity to some of those showers in Alabama and Middle Tennessee. Overnight tonight, 72 with clear skies. A few of us still probably going to be down in the 60s as we wake up, but that trend should be ending as we head towards Thursday and Thursday night, as temperatures should reach their peak in the mid-90s. The heat index not quite as high. It won't be reaching its peak, I think, until later on as we see more moisture in the atmosphere and thus higher rain chances for Friday and Saturday. Actual temperatures right around average, but I think it will be feeling close to 100 degrees with a little more cloud cover in the sky throughout the day. And of course, just making sure we keep an eye on the radar here to try and plan some of those outdoor activities as best and as accurately as possible. I definitely don't think we are in for a washout. Still another relatively relatively dry weekend where still maybe many of us will stay completely dry. And then into next week, it doesn't look like either rain chances, temperatures, humidity levels, or really any other measurable aspect that we incorporate into our forecast will be